The Autistic Self-Advocacy Network presents Help Us Win Fair Pay for Disabled Workers, Part 1. What is 14C? Did you know it's still legal for employers to pay disabled people less than minimum wage? Let's talk about why this happens and what you can do right now to stop it. The Fair Labor Standards Act, or FLSA, is a law passed in 1938. The law made a minimum wage for everyone in the United States. The minimum wage is the smallest amount that your boss is allowed to pay you for 1 hour of your work. Right now, in December 2024, the minimum wage is $7.25 for every hour of work. But the FLSA leaves disabled people out because of something called Section 14C. Section 14C lets companies pay disabled people less than the minimum wage if the company gets a 14C certificate. Today, around 40,579 disabled workers in the US make less than minimum wage because of Section 14C. Because of 14C, many disabled workers do not make enough money to survive. We want workers with disabilities to have competitive integrated employment, or CIE. Competitive integrated employment means that disabled people get paid fairly for their work. It also means that disabled people get jobs in the community. So how can we end 14C? The Department of Labor is currently accepting public comments on their proposed rule to get rid of 14C. A proposed rule is an idea for a rule. Public comments are a way for people to share ideas with the government. Public comments let the government know what everyday people think about a rule. Anyone can write a public comment, and in the next few videos, we'll show you how. Stay tuned for Part 2. Part 2. What does the proposed rule about 14C say? So what does the Department of Labor, or the DOL, proposed rule say about 14C? The DOL's proposed rule has 3 main ideas. The first idea is to stop letting employers renew their existing 14C certificates. Right now, when an employer already has a 14C certificate and wants it to last longer, they can renew it and keep paying disabled workers less than minimum wage. The proposed rule says that employers would not be allowed to renew 14C certificates starting 3 years after the rule is finalized. ASAN supports this idea. The second idea is to stop giving 14C certificates to employers who don't already have them. No more new employers would be able to pay disabled workers less than minimum wage after the rule is finalized. ASAN supports this idea. The third idea is to let employers with 14C certificates get an extension on their 14C certificates. ASAN does not support this idea. An extension means that employers with 14C certificates could ask the DOL for more time to keep paying disabled workers less than minimum wage in some situations. ASAN thinks that there are no situations that would make an extension okay. Even though ASAN does not support this part of the proposed rule, we still support the proposed rule as a whole. Telling the DOL what changes we want to see to the proposed rule is what public comments are for. Now that we know what's in the proposed rule, we can tell the DOL what we think of it by sending a public comment. We'll show you how in the next video. Part 3. What can I write in my public comment about 14C? We made a plain language guide on sending public comments about the Department of Labor's proposed rule on 14C. The guide goes into much more detail about writing your comment than we can in this short video. You can read or listen to the guide at the link in our bio called Take Action on Fair Pay for Disabled Workers with a Public Comment. The most important thing you can say in your public comment about 14C is that you support the proposed rule. If lots of people submit public comments saying they support the proposed rule, the Department of Labor is more likely to make the rule happen. It's also very important that your public comment is unique. The Department of Labor groups similar comments together, so if yours is exactly the same as someone else's, it might not be read. Our plain language guide can give you lots of ideas for talking points to include in your comment, but sharing information about how the proposed rule would impact you or someone you know is a great way to make sure your comment is unique. Use the plain language guide to help you write your public comment, then come back here for the next video where we'll go over how to submit your public comment. Happy writing! Part 4. How do I submit my public comment about 14C? Now that you've drafted your comment, you're ready to submit it. Yay! First, head to the link in our bio and click Submit your 14C public comment here. This will take you to the Federal Register website, which is what the Department of Labor uses to collect comments. Then click Submit a Public Comment. You can type or copy and paste the text of your comment in the box labeled Comment. You only need to fill out the fields marked with a red asterisk. You can enter your email in the box labeled Email to receive a notification when your comment is published, but you don't have to. Then choose whether to submit your comment as an individual or anonymously. If you submit as an individual, the first and last name you provide will be posted with your comment. If you submit anonymously, no name will be posted with your comment. Lastly, click the checkbox to acknowledge that you know you're filing a public comment and hit the Submit button. That's it. After you follow all of these steps, you will have officially submitted your comment. Congrats, and thank you for helping us fight for fair pay and better conditions for disabled workers.